Good evening, YouTube. Welcome to my channel, Scrap to Cast. Tonight I'm going to go ahead and scrap out a computer hard drive. In this video I'm going to show you exactly what's inside it, the tools you're going to need. Actually, I should probably get that handy. You're going to need one of these little kits here. It was $6 from Harbor Freight Tools. I don't know if you can actually see that. I have the tripod on the desk, so I'll put it on top like this. It's got all the different little bits inside it. The main reason I bought this was specifically for hard drives. They use Torx bits. The screws that are on this one here is a T8 Torx bit. I've used T9, T7, and a couple other different sizes. I've already got it set up here. So the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and take the circuit board off the bat. They call this a logic board. Now these logic boards, back in the day, this is actually it looks like an IDE computer hard drive. It's a Western Digital, 80 gigabytes. Pretty funny, that's pretty old actually, and funny because I use about 40 gigabytes of data on my cell phone every month, so this right here wouldn't even cover storage for more than 2 months. So, but this piece right here comes right off. It's got a little bit of foam padding here. I just usually get rid of this. Now these boards are actually the most valuable part of the hard drive. These boards you could sell to websites called BoardSort. I haven't really dealt with them before, but I've seen their pricing. Not recently, but the last few years ago, they were buying these boards for about, I think it was $7.50 per pound. It really doesn't weigh much, but when you get like maybe 10 hard drives, you might get close to a pound, if not, maybe even less. So, but once you get the board off, actually on these boards, I just wanted to mention that these are gold-plated pins. A lot of e-waste recyclers, they will take these pins off and they will process them to try to get the gold plating off. You literally need thousands and thousands of these to even get anything close to, you know, maybe a gram or two of gold. Don't quote me on that because I've never done it before, but I mean you do need a lot of material, gold bearing material, to be able to get that kind of gold. But and plus the cost of the chemicals, it's really not something I save. You know, I'll just hang on to the boards, and then when I'm ready to get rid of them, I'll sell them to BoardSort. But yeah, I mean this pretty much is a sealed unit. You got this little piece of tape over it, aluminum tape, covering all the holes that are milled inside. But to take these apart, this is a T8 Torx bit, and there's usually about 6 screws around the edges, and there's always a screw somewhere in the middle here under the label. They put it under the label so this way here they know if you've actually opened the drive up or not, because you're going to destroy the label even getting to it. So there's one right here. So we'll go ahead and take the screws out real quick. And you know, these boards, these hard drives rather, I mean, realistically, the only thing I'm going to get of value, metal-wise, is going to be aluminum. The cases are always made out of aluminum. The covers are sometimes made out of steel, and sometimes they're made out of aluminum as well. So we'll test it in a minute once I get this off. Now, there's a gasket under here, so sometimes you got to put like a little flat blade screwdriver in here and then just pry up. So here's the gasket right here that goes all the way around. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get my magnet and test it. Well, that is aluminum, so this is going to be melted later on. The little piece right here that I'm going to have to break off later on. Either that I could just get it melted. I try to clean it up as best as I can because you really don't want to melt something that has like adhesives and labels and all that junk on it. This is a powder coated finish on it, so that's going to burn off. There will be a little bit of slag in the pot, so I'll just set that aside. You got one hard drive platter here. You got the reader, and then you got 2 neodymium magnets. I think this is a T8 bit also. Yep, it is. So that actually works out. So we're just going to start pulling pieces off. I'm not sure what every component is in here. I mean, obviously that's a ribbon cable that goes to this. You can throw that in your junk wire. Just get all these pieces off here, and then see what we can do. Alright, so I just take that. There's a little piece of aluminum here, but there's a circuit, a little connector of some sorts with a ribbon cable attached to it. I mean, I could probably try to rip that off, but Nah, it's not going to come off. So I'll just throw that with my circuit boards, my low-grade circuit boards. Piece of plastic. And then when you get these off here, you can usually get the top one off easily. This is a little, looks like a little moisture packet. Suck up moisture. So this is a neodymium magnet, very powerful. You don't want to get to these, especially if they're bigger, stuck between your fingers because they will pinch. So let's get rid of that. Another piece of plastic here. Oh, that actually slid right off. Usually there's a screw that goes down in here, but that's what this cover screw was here, so that actually worked out. But sometimes on these posts they have another screw that's hidden. So a little piece of ribbon wire, throw that in low grade. There's a little bit of wire right there, but I'm not going to even bother with that. I mean, I'm probably just going to throw this in my dirty aluminum pile. It's mostly aluminum. You got a little C-clip right here if you want to take the bushing out. I'm not even going to bother with that. This right here is definitely aluminum, this piece right here, but it's so minute. I mean, you're not even going to want to try to get that off, or the time spent inside, getting all this junk off of it. So we'll just set that aside. Here's the platter here. I'm not sure if this is the same. Nope, it's not the same screw size. So I usually take these off just so I can get to the platter. When you open these drives up, you immediately corrupt the files on the drive. One little speck of dust inside here will actually make this hard drive pretty much useless. Unless you're the CIA or the FBI, I'm sure they've got ways that they can get into this. A lot of people, what they do is when they want to scrap or they want to dispose of a hard drive and, you know, get rid of the data, you know, what they'll do is they'll usually drill a hole through the cover and through the platter, rendering it pretty much useless. But I have heard rumors that those agencies that I mentioned before can actually obtain that data. So, you know, I'll show you what I do and get rid of this data. I'm sure you already have an idea of what I'm going to do, but I'll let you guys be surprised. So this is a piece of milled aluminum. It goes in your aluminum pile. There's the platter here. This is where all the data is. These are usually coated in platinum, very, very, very thin layer of platinum. You literally need, I think it was like 1,000 of these to even get like a gram's worth of platinum. I mean, don't quote me on that. I'm just going by what I've been reading up online. So, but I mean, there you go. Look at all my fingerprints. There we go. There's my data corrupted. So let's set that aside in the aluminum pile. This little motor here, this little spinning motor. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get that out, honestly. Oh, I will. There's the 3 screws here. That's what's holding it on. Get that out of there. The screws, I believe, are stainless. I don't think they're magnetic. Yeah, they're stainless. Some of them adhere a little bit, some of the other different ones, but the majority of them, they're stainless steel. They will have a little bit of resistance and a little bit of pull on the magnet, especially this powerful magnet. So now we've got that out. Yeah, so now this wants to come off, just like that. A little bit of gold plating right here. Really not worth it for me to take this. So I honestly don't think I'm going to be able to get this apart. I'm probably actually just going to throw this right in the furnace and melt it as is. You know, but pretty much we got another neodymium magnet here. There's always 2 of them in a hard drive. See, it's even pulling to that. That's how powerful it is. And there we go. So now this is pretty much completely stripped out. I'm probably going to get rid of this just because it's pretty hard to melt this kind of stuff. Especially if it's got adhesive on it. I hate melting things that have adhesive, but sometimes you have to. Sometimes they'll actually float inside the crucible. I've actually seen that on these little white labels. I melted some aluminum down before, and this actually just curled up into a little ball when I melted it. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, this is cast aluminum. No, this is actually, it's not cast aluminum. I think, it might actually be cast aluminum. It's definitely milled. I mean, you can see where all the swirl marks were. This might be die cast aluminum, now that I think about it. Got a nice little rubber gasket up here. I'm going to pull that off. But pretty much now we're going to check it, see if there's any steel on it anywhere. Actually, we'll take the one that's flat. Yep, that's all aluminum. Not one piece of steel on there, so that's good. Get a little piece right here. Got some right here, and I'll clean that label and try to get that off later on. This, I might try to clean this up a little bit better, but I don't know how I'm really going to get that out of here. I mean, there's really no way to get that out. So that's going to get melted as is. This is going to get melted. And then pretty much this I'm just going to throw in my dirty aluminum. And then the logic board I'll throw in my logic board bin, which is currently mid-range boards. Mid-grade boards, rather. So, anyways, that's how you quickly scrap out a hard drive. And I'll bring you back when I'm ready to melt. Okay, I lied. I'm not ready to melt yet. I decided to investigate a little bit further, see if I could get this apart. Actually, I did get it apart, and underneath, actually I'll show you how I got it apart first. I stuck it in my vise, opened the jaws, and put it in there. And pretty much what I did was I took a punch, and I just went and banged it a couple times, and it popped off. So, we actually do have a little tiny electric motor in here. I honestly don't think I'm going to be able to get that out. I could melt it as is. It'll melt this off. And then this will actually stay intact. It's steel. And it's got, you know, copper windings. And on the furnace, you actually melt aluminum at a little lower, actually significantly lower than copper. So this would actually just get heated up really hot. And it wouldn't melt. It would actually stay in one solid piece. So I could do that, and then it would float on top of the aluminum inside the crucible. So, but I'm not going to do that. I'm actually going to put this in my electric motors bin, even though it's got a little bit of aluminum on it. It's just not worth it for me to try to break this off and see if I can get it. So, I mean, it's up to you guys how you want to do it. I mean, if you want to be a very thorough scrapper, it's just, you know, sometimes your time is worth way more than, you know, 2 cents worth of aluminum, if that. So, anyways, that, I just wanted to show you that. And this piece here, this is actually steel. So I could realistically melt this, but it's got a piece of plastic in here too, going around, and I tried getting it out, and I can't get that out. So I'm not going to bother melting that. I'm just going to throw that in my dirty aluminum pile that I'm going to sell to the scrapyard. Couple things I did do off camera. I took the gasket off from the inside. Here it is. And then I took that other piece off, and you can see some of the adhesive that's still there, which I'm not going to be able to get that off. Well, maybe if I rub it like that. Yeah, that's coming off. Okay. Perfect. I don't have to deal with that toxic smell. And then I took the label off completely. So now this is pretty much as clean as it's going to get. The only thing I really got left to do, I'm going to actually cut this down the middle here, just so I can fit it inside the crucible, because it's not going to fit like this, obviously. So I'm just going to cut it down the middle, and I'll put both halves in there. The cover I can pretty much bend in my hand. Actually, maybe not. Yeah, I can bend that. You can stick that right in the crucible like that. The platter, I honestly really wouldn't bend these with your hands, not without gloves at least. I don't think they're going to shatter, but in case they do, always wear eye protection. It's just a quick way I'm going to do it. There we go. Usually that's what it does, but you never know. Sometimes it might actually, you know, crack in half, and then, you know, a couple things will go all over the place. So we'll throw that inside there like this. Actually, we'll put it on the outer edge like that, and then we'll cut this down the middle, and then put that in there, put this little piece in there, and that's pretty much it. And then we'll go ahead and melt this down. There is a tiny drop of copper still left in here from last night's melt, but like I said, with the furnace being run a little lower than copper melting temperature, that should stay as a solid. Pretty much, it might actually come out when I pour, but it'll still be a solid piece, and I'll be able to get it out off of the bar if it actually does come out. So, anyways, we'll bring it back when we're ready to melt. Okay, I've got the crucible all set up. I'm actually going to do something special tonight. I'm going to melt down some extra aluminum. because really, I'm not going to get a lot off of that hard drive. I might maybe get 4 or 5 ounces if I had to guess. I apologize for not weighing it in advance, but I got a lot of things going on tonight, but I wanted to at least make one video. I'm going to go ahead and cast an ingot in here, but first I'm actually going to make a flower. I've made one before out of copper and a couple out of aluminum that I have at my house in my curio cabinet, so I'm going to make an extra one here. And maybe when I reach 100 subscribers, maybe I'll do a giveaway on that. So, unfortunately, I can't melt right now because it just started pouring rain. And you can see there's already raindrops getting on top of here. So running this furnace with molten aluminum, I really wouldn't advise it. I guess I could push the furnace in a little further and just keep the garage open like that. There's really not much hazardous stuff that I have to worry about breathing in. I mean, I can put my respirator on if I want to, and I have my fan set up behind me that I could use. So maybe I'll make this work, or maybe I'll do this tomorrow. But I'm going to give it another half an hour, see if the rain lets up a little bit. And if it does, then I'm definitely going to record the melt. And if not, I'll just have to do it at a later date. Okay, I moved the furnace in a little bit. It's been a half an hour. I'm just going to go for it. I'm going to leave the door only open that much. It'll be more than enough ventilation. There's really not anything toxic in here, except maybe some of the powder-coated paint. But other than that, I'm just going to go ahead and put this in, light the furnace, and I'm just going to get this melted. I've already got the piece of cardboard underneath the crucible on top of the fire brick. This way here, it'll keep it so the crucible doesn't get stuck to the fire brick when I try to remove it and do the pour. So we're going to go ahead and turn the propane on. Get this ready. Nope, a little more. There we go. You see the wind, so we'll get this done real quick. There we go. Crank it up. It's actually not as loud as melted copper. If you want to see where I actually run it at, I run it right there, just under 0.1. I don't know what the numbers mean, but I learned from other scrappers, other melters rather, they use this furnace. That's where you run it for aluminum. 0.1, that's where you melt brass, and then the next line up is where you melt copper. So, here we go, just set you up, and we'll bring you back pretty much when we're going to start adding this other material over here. Okay, just to give you an idea, this is already melted, and it's only been 2 minutes. So I'm just going to go ahead and stick another piece in the top. You'll pretty much see this melt down pretty soon. Maybe not. I guess I'm making myself out as a liar. Oh, there it goes. Okay. Once something's molten and you put it in, put something else in, it really starts melting down pretty quickly. And you'll see that fall in by itself. There it goes. And that's pretty much melted. Close to it. There it goes. Nothing left now. So, like I said, once you start getting something melted, it's pretty easy. Just add to it. Right near the edge of the cover, and then you're going to get, you know, a hot piece of aluminum floating all over the place. Oh, in case anybody's wondering why I cover the hose with these leather sleeves, just in case if if I'm melting something, you can see little embers come out of the top. I just don't want it to hit the actual hose and puncture the hose, and then I'm gonna have a fire. So I have a fire extinguisher handy behind me. So plus I have this bucket of water, so just in case something ever does happen, you know, always be prepared, you know, for the worst. I've had accidents before. I'm not perfect. So we'll go ahead and add the rest of these pieces. I'm going to try to get this crucible as full as possible. And then I'm going to go ahead and preheat the molds, the tools. And then when I come back, we should be ready to pour. Okay, I shut the garage because the wind is just so bad right now. But that crucible is pretty much full. Just gonna get the slag out of here. It's pretty much clean. I got most of the slag out. There was actually a piece of an aluminum, not aluminum, there was a piece of steel pipe that was inside one of the aluminum tubes. That's right here. So that's not going to melt. So we'll go ahead and get this going. And this is full. And I'm sweating pretty bad, so you don't want to ever sweat over molten aluminum, so just always be really careful. So I did these. I'm going to do, after I get a good grip on this, I'm going to go ahead and do one of these. It comes out like molasses, so I always go a little high with it. And we'll go ahead and pour this. And aluminum likes to cool really quick, so. Nope, couldn't do it. I see other guys doing it on YouTube, and there's a couple other steel pieces that are in there too that got stuck at the bottom. So, go ahead and open this up a little bit now. Get that smoke out. It's a seasoned pan, so. I don't know if you can see that, but those are the steel pieces that are still in there. I'll get those out later. Or I'll just melt it as is, and then they'll come out easier. So. Aluminum takes a while to cure. That's why I'm not going to even touch that for probably another minute or so. So I'm going to turn the camera off just so you don't have to wait. And then when I'm ready to knock it out, I'll put the camera back on. Okay, we're back. These are pretty much solidified now. The reason, like I said earlier, the reason you want to actually let them cool down completely, because I've poured before, I've rushed getting the ingots out, and then they broke it in half because it still wasn't solidified in the middle. So, let's see if we can actually get this out of here. This one actually didn't come out that bad. I mean, normally when you melt aluminum, it will actually recede down, just like this one over here. You can see how in the middle it actually went down a little bit. It always happens. I can never really get a smooth bottom on these, but yeah, I'm struggling here to get this. Let's see if this comes out. That came out really nice. We'll go ahead and quench. Actually, you know what? I gotta see if I can get this out of here. This I think is gonna be a problem. Nope, actually that one came out. Okay. You can see the discoloration in that flour. Actually, I kind of like it. I hate these channel locks. These channel locks are junk. Cheap Chinese crap. We're gonna go ahead and quench this one first. So we'll bring the camera over here. Hope you can see that. Unfortunately, my GoPro, I don't have an LCD screen on it, so I never know if I'm getting all the material or not. So hopefully this wasn't a waste. Looks pretty nice. I actually kind of like the black in there. I might actually just leave it like that. Just give it some character. But that didn't turn out too bad. And then we'll go ahead and do the ingot here. You can hear it sizzling. That's actually probably one of my biggest aluminum ingots of that size. In that mold, rather. So, alright. I'll go ahead and, I'm probably not even going to polish this up. I might just run it on the wire wheel real quick. And I might do the same thing with the flour. And we'll go ahead and weigh it up to see what we got. Oh, and for the record, melting that hard drive, I'd like to see the CIA and the FBI get my information now. It's currently either in that bar or in that flour. So, I challenge you guys to go ahead and try and take it. Alright, I'll be back with the weigh-in. Okay guys, I got the flour and the bar all cleaned up. I could have done a better job on this one, honestly. I could have sanded it down a little bit and polished it. I'm just too damn lazy. Quite honestly, I don't really save aluminum ingots. I have a bigger furnace that I'm going to be using, and eventually I'm just going to be melting all of these down and making larger bricks once I get an actual bigger mold. But yeah, that didn't come out that bad. Here's the bottom. I didn't use a wire wheel on the bottom. I kind of like it nice and rough right there. Make it so it grips it nice on the table so it doesn't really move. Almost perfect. And then we get the flour here. I kind of like how this polished up. I like the different tint. You can see where the black was on here and in the middle. And I left a little bit here just to kind of let the features stand out a little bit. But here's the back side. I actually polished this a little bit with the wire wheel. Yeah, the aluminum always sinks. I don't know what it is about it, but sometimes, well, most of the time, it actually will start to cave in on itself a little bit. So that's why I try to pour a little extra material and let it go over the edge, so you usually get like a little lip around it, like here. But hoping to see what I could do to figure this out. Mostly in every casting video I've seen, this usually happens. So, and then they usually sand it down flat. So, anyways, we're gonna go ahead and do the weigh-in. Hopefully it's still set to grams from last night. Yep, still set to grams. So let's see what this weighs. Wow, almost exactly 300 grams. So that's roughly maybe about 11.5 ounces. And then we'll try this one. See what this weighs by itself. And 518 grams on the bar. So total weight, looking at 818 grams. That's pretty much, I can't even do the math. 29 ounces roughly. 0.819 kilos. And, it was a little off. 1 pound, almost 13 ounces. Same as the other night. So, anyways, thanks for watching. And please like and subscribe if you haven't already. Pretty much averaging now 2 to 3 YouTube videos a week. So, once I get a bunch of subscribers, maybe I'll slow down a little bit. But I'm really just trying to crank on the content and get the channel known. So, anyways, thanks for looking.